Hello, I'm Flip Nicklin. Welcome to Humpback Chronicles. My association with humpback whale research and Maui started with a singer named Frank and a researcher named Jim Darling. And though I would say Maui is my favorite place to work with whales, I did get a chance to work other places in the world in some different environments. In the 1980s and 90s, if I wasn't doing work for National Geographic magazine, I worked for a company called Japan Underwater Films out of Tokyo, Japan. I worked with a great photographer and conservationist, Koji Nakamura, who became one of my best friends. Koji was instrumental in showing me how photography and filmmaking could really make a difference. A number of the projects we worked on included now Dr. Jim Darling and research projects he was working on. In this episode, I'm going to try and show how this association led to Whale Trust and to Whale Tales and to a lot of the things we're doing today. But first, a note from Mr. Koji Nakamura.
Flip and Jim are not only my longtime friend, but also benefactor of our company, Japan Underwater Films. From the 1980s to the 2000s, we received valuable advice on the shooting of large aquatic mammals that we have never experienced, and they led us difficult shooting to success. The friendship we have cultivated and enjoyed together for a long time at the shooting site are deep. The most memorable work is the shooting of narwhal, called Phantom Whale in the Arctic Ocean. I have visited there with Flip twice in the past. From June to July, narwhal come on the northern polar region of Baffin Island, Canadian Arctic, to prey on polar cod. However, since narwhal is a very cautious creature, we couldn't get close to them in scuba. So I tried helicopter aerial shooting and to wait for them near a crack of the ice field. The hardest part of all was cross-task. It's that male raised their task on the surface water and compared their size, gathering in one place after preying. When I saw these illusory behaviors, I remember forgetting the cord and dedicate the shooting. Thanks to Jim and Flip, whale watching and underwater video shooting of aquatic mammals have become very popular in Japan. Gray whales are a species of whales that migrate over extreme long distance, and it is said that the Western Pacific family around Japan are so few that they were considered extinct. This is a picture of gray whale taken in Izuoshima, Japan in 1993, recommended by Flip and Jim. It was featured in the National Geographic magazine with Jim's writing. According to Jim, the gray whale is a young male and was the world's first vivid image of the gray whale feeding. Whales are truly fascinating creatures of the marine species, and I have been passionate about filming them. I think that the chance of shooting this gray whale is a gift given by whales. I hope to meet gray whale again in the water anytime. In this way, Jim and Flip are indispensable in my shooting experience. Once again, I dream of traveling with Flip and Jim on the theme of Japanese whales. Koji Nakamura. Hi, Flip. Hi, Jim. How are you doing? I'm doing very well. Miyuki, Muse, all very well.
I worked many places with Japan Underwater Films and Mr. Nakamura, the United States, Canada, the High Arctic, Mexico, and the Caribbean. But probably what was the big thing for me was the chance we got to work so many places in Japan. And in one of those places, Ogasawara, in southern Japan, a day-and-a-half boat trip from Tokyo, we found humpback whales and an active humpback whale watching business. I can remember sitting in the Japan Underwater Films office with Koji Nakamura discussing what a great idea it would be to bring Jim Darling to Ogasawara to start a study of humpbacks in Japan.
Well, thanks to Koji and Flip, in March 1986, I wound up in Japan, in Tokyo for the first time. I'd just been there a day or two and was getting my bearings and was sitting in Koji's Japan Underwater Films office, which has to be one of the most amazing places to sit if you're interested in wildlife. Anyway, Koji tells me to stay put as someone was coming to the office that he thought I should meet. It was a fellow named Akihito Koga, who was the owner of the Ogasawara Diving Center, and he came in to tell us about humpback whales near his home, which is a spectacular and isolated group of islands about 1,000 kilometers southwest of Tokyo. With Koji translating, he was telling us that they saw whales all through the winter, and his customers, divers, would go in the water and hear them singing. They saw cows and calves, right close to shore, and sometimes they saw big groups of whales where the water was just churning white. As Koji was translating Mr. Koga's stories, I was writing notes as fast as I could, as this was the first current information I'd heard about humpback whales in Japan. The general impression in North America and Hawaii was there were few, if any, humpbacks remaining in Japanese waters. By the end of that meeting, Mr. Koga was encouraging us to come to Ogasawara and do a study, and he said he would help, and the mayor, that's the mayor of Ogasawara, would help, and the local fishermen would help. And with that, he started our study of Japanese humpbacks. Within another day, Koji arranged a meeting with Mr. Ito of World Wildlife Fund Japan, and over a restaurant table in downtown Tokyo, with Koji translating, I described a potential for research based on a lot of the work that we'd done in Hawaii and elsewhere. By the end of that lunch, a beaming Mr. Ito said he too would help, and that began the first study of living whales in Japan.
This is a story that will be continued as we get into work we do at Whale Trust in Maui that's ongoing today. But for me, this was sort of a beginning, the idea that I could not just take pictures of other people's study, but actually be part of starting research that we would do. That turned up to be Whale Trust in Maui. Thanks again for being part of our story, and thank you very much for your support. Bye-bye.